Welcome to the Air Economy. We are 2 weeks in, not even tomorrow. And so I wrote a little poem about it. It's called A New Paradigm. Air replaced Earth, planets aligned, witness to shift. My, what a time. And for me, and for all of you, I hope, this is the most important transit that we will ever experience. This shift from Earth to air economically for a 200-year period. The last people to have experienced this were alive in 1842. This is my great-great-grandfather, before he even bought our family farm in 1848. So I'm convinced that we all chose to be here to be a witness to this incredibly significant shift astrologically, and not only to witness it, but to understand how to embrace it, understand how to use it, embrace it, go with it, not only for our own benefit, but for those whom we counsel and consult with. So just a little for the record on what Jupiter, Saturn, and the economy do and why we look at it. If you are not familiar with financial astrology, Jupiter and Saturn are connected to the economy for two reasons. One, Jupiter expands, Saturn contracts, and they have a 20-year cycle where they come together by conjunction every 20 years. So they're very tied into the business cycle, expansion, contraction, recession, expansion, etc. And as we know, they make conjunctions in one element for most of 180 to 200 years. And we are just leaving the Earth economy of 1842 to 2020, which overall Earth you can think of as being grounded, dependable, yet inert. Doesn't change, stays the same. Taurus is about money, Virgo is about health, Capricorn is about business. We are entering the air economy of 2020 to 2219, 199 years. And air is about being intellectual, being objective, yet impersonal. We started at 00 Aquarius 2 weeks ago, December 21, 2020, and the Aquarius period ends on October 30, 2040. This is the time when the conjunction in Aquarius says that the 20 years will be marked by ideas, brilliance, being progressive, rebellious. Then we move into Libra, October 31, 2040 to April 6, 2060. My guess is that in the next 20 years, we'll maybe take that rebellious progressive a little too far, and maybe even the independence a little too far. And the Libra period from 2040 to 2060 will try and get us back to a more middle ground of some sort. And then the last of the three air signs is Gemini, and Saturn and Jupiter make their conjunction at 0 Gemini in April 7 of 2060 to 2080. I'll no doubt be dead by then and we'll miss it. But that is where communications, being curious, quick, changeable will come into vogue. So also to remind you here, just let's take a little, let's get our minds in the right place. Okay, what has happened in air economies before? And the previous big one was in 1226 to 1425. And its little preview was 1186 to 1206. And what happened during the previous air economy is that ideas and education expanded. Aristotle's works came back into vogue and provided a revolution in terms of Western thought. Universities like at Paris, Oxford, Cambridge all received their charters. And so more people than just people in the church or priests could get an education. The Inquisition punished heresy. Marco Polo went to the Far East and expanded knowledge across the entire known globe. In 1320, Dante wrote the Divine Comedy, and its claim to fame, among other things, was that he used what was called, he wrote in vernacular, that some, not highfalutin Latin or Italian, but the way people talked. This was brand new, to have poetry, plays, communications in conversational type language. The second thing that I think we'll see also in this era economy, technology improved life back then. Eyeglasses were invented during this period so that you could actually see to read. And 1455, the Gutenberg Bible was first noted. Now, it was probably published before then, and Gutenberg lived during this period, 1398 to 1468. And the big deal about the Gutenberg Bible and Gutenberg is that he created a way to pave the way for mass printing so that you could distribute information on a broad basis and not have just one person manually rewriting whatever needed to be said. There was pressure for equality and global community. The Magna Carta, a little bit outside of this period, but certainly in range. The Magna Carta defined the rights of the nobility versus the king, and is considered, let's see, Lord Denning described it as the greatest constitutional document of all times. It is the foundation of the freedom of the individual against the arbitrary authority of the despot. And so here we see an idea of individuals having respect, independence, and laws. The Electoral College I threw in just because I thought it was funny. 1356, they created an electoral college to elect the emperor of the Holy Roman Empire that did not necessarily include the Pope's opinion. And then there was a peasants' revolt over taxes in 1381. And of course, we're all familiar with this, having researched it this last year, but an airborne disease threatened the population. The Black Plague in the mid-1300s killed 1/3 of the population of Europe. And yay us, astrology thrived during this period. In the mid-1200s, Bonatti's Liber Astronomiae, I don't know if my Italian/Latin said that right, and the Alphonsine tables provided technology for horoscope calculation. And this is from Nick Campion's book, A History of Western Astrology. And the key word for me in that was the technology for horoscope calculation. So there was, the air economy at the time, technology was the mobile type from the Bible, the ability to construct horoscopes in a way that more people do it. William Merle at Oxford did astrology-based weather predictions. And when Geoffrey Chaucer wrote the Canterbury Tales, he used astrology to help move along the plot lines. And Chaucer had taken his cue in terms of writing in the common folk vernacular from Dante. And so Chaucer was willing to write with astrological references because he knew that his audience would understand them. So people were into it, they understood what the astrology meant, and he used it. So we've had our little preview, of course, in the air economy from 1980 to 2000. when Jupiter and Saturn made their conjunction in Libra.